This episode was made in 2 language versions. Now, you're listening to the English one. If you want to switch the language into Polish, then choose the previous episode from the list.
This podcast is sponsored by the Divinita Group, who lent me their audio equipment. I wouldn't be able to record this podcast without it. And now, if you like what I'm doing and want to support the podcast Dawno Temu w Sztuce, then buy me coffee on ko-fi.com/Dawno Temu w Sztuce, link in the description. All coffees I'm going to spend on new audio equipment to make your podcast listening experience even better. Thank you for all the coffees, and now, let's get it started. To turn art studio into the desert? Why the paintings of the Italian artist glow in the dark? And if the dance made by Matisse can make your heart beat faster? I will tell you about all of this in a moment. My name is Agnieszka Kijas and I'm the art critic. And you are listening to episode 75 of Dawno Temu w Sztuce. Everything you want to know about art, but without boredom. Good morning or evening. I welcome you, my dear listener, or maybe I should say buongiorno a tutti. But why? This podcast will pass in the dolce vita vibe. That's because we are going to sunny Italy. That's all thanks to my guest, because for the first time at the history of Dawno Temu w Sztuce podcast, I have the pleasure to host here an artist from abroad, Avasenna. Get ready for color, light, and also the power of expression, because Avasenna's painting really go beyond the framework. Avasenna is from Italy, but today we will talk in English. If everything will go well, there will be 2 versions of this podcast, one in Polish and another in English language. I'm full of emotion, I'm so excited, because right now when I'm recording this podcast, I don't have any idea how I'm going to edit that. However, I have a really good helping hand on my side. It's my daughter, Olivia. She knows English better than me, so I can chill out. And for now, I'm inviting you into the world of vivid colors, fluorescent paints, and secret codes. Codes which can be read only when the dark falls down. I'm inviting you into the artistic world where the ruler is Avasenna. Buongiorno, Avasenna. Welcome to my podcast.
Buongiorno.
I greet you warmly. Avasenna, please close your eyes and imagine that I'm standing in front of your art studio and I'm knocking on the door, then you open it. So, what do I see?
You see a studio far away from the confusion of the downtown of Milan where I live. You can cross a little garden and you go down some steps. And there is my studio. My studio is a large blank space. And in each wall there are a lot of paintings. But in one of these wall there is anything. It is only white. And it is the wall where I work, where I used to use my colors, my canvases, and so on.
Oh, wow! So your studio is really clean and minimalistic.
No. It is a chaos. You can see only colors and materials everywhere. The white is covered by my paintings, my things, my papers, and strange things I found, and everything.
I can imagine that. Then please tell me, how often are you there?
I am there almost each evening. But sometimes it is important for me stay out from my studio. For example, having a walk or go in the center of the city or go in one of the parks of our city, because I think that inspiration can also comes from different things. It isn't useful to wait for it.
That's right. If you look for the inspiration outside, then what inspired you lately? What painting are you currently working on?
Right now I'm working on many artworks at the same time. I'm experimenting a lot in this period. For example, on my famous blank wall, there is a canvas painted with a background of blue-green, very bright. It has to come. Something will happen. On my desk, there is many pieces of paper from a technical manual of guns for my artworks Underarms, which is a series for against guns, against the use of violence. They are lino cuts on paper, so very different techniques at the same time.
You're such a hard worker because you make a lot of paintings at the same time. It's not surprising, a lot of artists had done that. I wish you good luck to finish all of these works. And now, can you tell me if your paintings are closer to realism or maybe to abstraction?
It is both, because I can create something more real, more figurative, but by using abstract figures, abstract shapes. So if you go too closer, you can see an abstract painting, for example. If you stay far away from the painting, you see that it is a figure, or it is a face, or a body, or something like that. So it is both.
Okay, both is good. But no matter what, for you, color is the key. I'm talking about this series of painting. Here I want to add that I saw your paintings only in the internet. This series of paintings at which in the black background there are color circles. In those circles we can see another shapes. They look like somebody cut and placed them on the circles. In those paintings everything is so well composed. From one side those colors are vivid and full of joy, but from the other side I know that this series has a really important message. The question is, what message?
Okay, this series is called Sensitivity. It is an installation made of 22 pieces, 22 artworks, and they represent the abstraction of women breasts. The meaning of this installation is to let women to prevent breast cancer, and to prevent it earlier than what we do too often. It is made of three-dimensional stains on different levels and of different materials. And important in this artwork is the color. In fact, I like to combine very different colors to create a vivid and impactful result. This is important because the meaning is to approach to the cancer and to prevention with a positive behavior, to be positive and strong and courage for what happens to you.
Oh my God, that's incredible, because I feel the same. You won't believe me, but I even lead the conference Rak Off. Rak means cancer in Polish. So, Rak Off, fuck off. One of the young artists had made a sculpture. It was a bra for only one breast made from metal web and crystal. It looks like cancer cells. It was deep. Very deep and impactful. Another popular artist who made something like that is a sculptor, Alina Szepacznikow. Do you know her? Maybe you know some of her works?
I don't know her, but I will searching on it.
She created cancer cells in the stones and gave them her own face. She had cancer and suddenly she lost the battle. When she died, she was only 47. You know, I'm 31, so she's 6 years older than me. If we touch that serious topic, to balance that, we should also talk about the healing power of color. Colors make us feel different emotions and make us react in different ways. So we started talking about psychology. From what I heard, you put psychology in your art. Is it right?
Yeah, I firmly believe that art and color can heal not only the wounds of the body, but also the wounds of the mind. Psychology is very important for me because I'm interested in emotions which are different from a person to another. For example, love, hate, and sadness, angry, joy, and so. We feel the same emotion, so it is what made us unique, but also equal. We are all the same humans. And it is very important for the message related to emotions, to psychology. There is also the perception of ourselves with ourselves and with others. So the perception of the individual in the group, in the community. And I think that all these aspects are very important for an artist nowadays in particular.
About the therapeutic side of art, I also know few people who had bad moments in their life. For example, when the COVID began, at that depressing moment, art was the only hope for them. In the crisis, they grabbed a palette and started to paint. Do you know anyone like that?
Yeah, I can say that I felt it on my own skin because here in Italy, COVID pandemic was very very strong. During the second lockdown, and here lockdown was you can't go out from your home, never. But if you work, you can go. So I went all the day, each day in my studio, and I work. It was a sort of expression of my need of freedom, my need of air. I always need air, and this situation was very difficult for me. Art saved me. And for example, I did in this period, and I call it frenetic stasis.
Oh, the creative frenzy! I know that feeling. It reminds me that art is our best friend. It isn't there only to smile at us. Sometimes it has to slap us on the cheek. But when we have a mental breakdown, art is our savior.
Yeah, I agree. Always when you are alone, in particular, when you feel that anyone is there with you, art is always.
That's right. I know that every artist doesn't like to be compared to other artists, but if I had to be honest, your colors really give me the vibe that I know from paintings made by Fauvists. Henri Matisse mostly. I felt the same energy from your paintings, which comes from his dance or from cutouts that he made at the end of his life. And tell me, is it a good track?
It surprises me because I never did my art consciously referring to Matisse. But I think that it could fit very well, and probably there is something because I saw one of his artwork, and in particular the dance itself, in Paris some years ago. The dance shocked me in a positive way, obviously, and I felt a sort of Stendhal syndrome. I don't know.
Okay, and now I will tell you a fun fact about art. Some people are able to see colors of sounds, numbers, hear smells, etc. For example, my daughter Olivia, who is helping us from the backstage, is able to hear the colors of the names. Olivia, please join in our conversation and tell something more about it.
When I hear a name, which most of the time is connected to a specific person.
Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time it has a specific color. One name can have different colors depending on who we are talking about.
Okay, then what color is the name Avasenna?
This Avasenna has the violet or maybe yellow mustard color.
Then what color is my name, Agnieszka?
Light blue.
And what about you, Olivia?
Red.
Oh, nice color palette we have here. Olivia, one last question. What color is the name Szymon?
Turquoise.
I'm asking about it because the painter Szymon Chwalisz is our, Avasenna and mine, mutual mate. I wanted to add that Szymon was once a guest of my podcast, and you can listen to the episode in the Polish language on my channel. Avasenna, also I know that it is going to be possible to buy your paintings through the gallery that Szymon set up with his manager, Anna Mglej. The gallery is named, even if that name is really hard to say, Chwalisz Mglej Art Gallery. As far as I know, you also plan the exhibition. Does it mean that you will go to Poland?
Yeah. I don't know when, but it will happen soon. In particular, in this moment when your Poland is in a very difficult position.
That's right. Poland is now in a difficult situation. Of course, we are all supporting Ukraine. But if you manage to get to Poland, then please let me know. I want to meet you too. Also, we want to invite you, dear listener, to follow the official website and social media accounts of Chwalisz Mglej Art Gallery for more details. Now let's talk about some secrets. Avasenna, how do you make your paintings shine?
I use very different kind of paints, and important for the shining effect is fluorescent and phosphorescent colors. Fluorescent brights during the exposition to black light, UV light, whereas phosphorescent colors are bright when the darkness falls. I like to use a lot of levels of lectures related to the different kind of lighting. So, for example, during the daylight, you can see a very colorful artwork. When you switch on the black light, you can see the fluorescent colors with a very impactful and three-dimensional effect. I use more or less both of them, but not always. When I use phosphorescent colors, you can see it only during the night. So when everything is silent, when you are alone with yourself.
The truth appears when the darkness falls inside us. That's what I read on your Instagram. I think it fits really well. These hidden codes and messages which you can see at day, but they talk to you at night. I know that sometimes you write words on your canvas, and tell me please, what consistency this paint has?
The paint, fluorescent and phosphorescent, are normal paints, but they are very thick, as all my paints, because I like to use directly the color on the canvas or on my surface. I change a lot, so but in general I like to texturize before, so by using sand, glass, glitter, and on them I will put the color.
Oh, wait a minute. If we touch that sand topic, then I won't let it go. Tell us about the desert in the studio.
It was very funny. My idea is to paint also by using sand on the canvas. But when I put sand on canvas, it wasn't clear in my mind how to do that. In fact, I put all the sand on the floor of my studio, and nothing of the sand goes on the canvas. After some times, I can find the right way to do this process.
Okay, if we are talking about art mistakes, then my favorite painter, Vincent van Gogh, was painting his nocturnes, starry night or cafeterias at night, around the candles. He was painting them outside at night, so he didn't know the real colors he was using. He always couldn't wait until the sun was rising to see what his works turned into. That's why we now look at his paintings and see, for example, Purple Street. It's all thanks to accident. And how about you? Do you often paint with a plan, or it's all thanks to accident?
Half and half, I think, because sometimes I go to my studio with a planned idea and I start. Other times I have to do something, not thinking. In general, I start from using materials or colors, and I don't decide anything. And then the artwork started to appear. So it depends. For example, series. I never start a series consciously. I start to do a work and I say, I want to say this message. And then I continue to do something similar in order to make the message stronger, make the message clearer. So it is the process in general I follow.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes one painting is enough. Sometimes we need more of them.
Yes, you need to have more of them in order to have the message as you want. And in other cases, not.
And which painting was the biggest surprise for you, that you didn't plan anything or you made a mistake, but at the end it looked good? Yeah,
one example of this can be found in Free to Be You, which is a big artwork. You can find it on my Instagram page and on my website. And a famous artist that I follow gave me some glass microspheres, and it was the first time I use them. So I put them on my canvas, and I say, oh no, I disrupt my artwork. But I decided to use black paint on it. Everything changes, and it is my favorite painting, the most important example for me, because when everything goes wrong and you think, no, you can have the idea and the idea can change everything, and now it is my best, in my opinion, it is my best one.
It's so cool you said that, because we have moments in life when we think that things can get worse, but when we change our mindset a little bit, then everything can be colorful again.
Can the translator say one thing?
Yeah, sure, come on.
There is that one saying that I hear a lot: trust the process. And it fits perfectly to this situation.
Trust the process, that's right. Okay, Avasenna, even if you heard that a lot, then still I want to ask you about that. How it all started, because I know that art was always with you.
My art journey started when I burn. I started to do art from always. In particular, in the last 3 years, I started to do it as a work. So each day, in any time, I do art, or I think about art, because you can't always do. You have also to think about what to do. Yeah, it is my art journey. It's my life.
Wow, I had the same situation from when I used to be a child. I knew that I'm gonna be a writer and a creative artist. When I talked about it with my family, they were shocked, but not in the positive way. They said something like, "You won't make it as an artist." How your family reacted about your future plans? Were they helpful or not?
Yeah, my family encourages me, but I have to do at the university. I have to go to the master and the bachelor and the master degree. It is you can do everything, but firstly you have to study. It is why I have a lot of interest, and I found the way to put all of my interests on my art. So from design, from classical themes, from psychology, humanistic science, everything is in my mind, and so it is in art. And I think that in the end I can be grateful for that. It is not only art as others. I have a lot of sources, sources of inspiration.
Oh, that's cool. You're just like Leonardo da Vinci. Science, psychology, sociology, and also social problems, breast cancer, for example. Go girl, you got it. I'm going to follow you for sure. I want to invite you, my dear listener, to follow Avasenna's Instagram account. How it's called?
My nickname is Avasenna.
Oh, it's easy to remember.
I have also a website.
So I want to invite you to follow Avasenna or her socials or on her website. You can also follow my Instagram. It has the same name as this podcast channel, Dawno Temu w Sztuce. Avasenna, at the end, I have one request. There won't be any podcast without it. We have to record it. I will teach you a really important sentence in Polish. Repeat after me, okay?
Okay.
Pozdrawiam wszystkich słuchaczy.
Pozdrawiam wszystkich
Słuchaczy?
Słuchacze.
Tak, podcastu.
Podcastu.
Dawno temu w sztuce.
Dawno temu w sztuce.
Beautiful! Okay, now it's my turn, because these were greetings for all listeners of Dawno Temu w Sztuce. How would this sound in Italian?
Mine is easier than yours.
We will see.
Saluti a tutti gli ascoltatori del podcast C'era una volta nell'arte.
Saluta a tutti gli
ascoltatori.
Ascoltatori. Un saluto a tutti gli ascoltatori del podcast.
C'era una volta.
C'era una volta
nell'arte.
Dell'arte. Oh, thank you very much. I hope that I did it right. As you can see, art connects people and gives a lot of fun. To understand it, you don't have to speak in every language in the world, even if they are very useful. That's why I want to thank my daughter Olivia, who helped us from the backstage and translated today's conversation. Without Olivia, I wouldn't be able to record today's episode. Olivia, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks that I was able to help. Thanks a lot.
Also, I'm really glad because it was the first international episode of Dawno Temu w Sztuce. Was it good to listen to? You can give me some tips because right now I'm preparing for another podcast with international guest. It will be the interview with Avasenna's friend, Gabriel. He works with her in the same studio. Avasenna, can you tell us a little bit about Gabriel?
We are two friend artists, and I think that Gabriel is a very impactful artist, so he is very different from me. I think that he has a lot of things to say.
Did you ever make an art collaboration?
No, we just work in rooms, but we are working on something for the future. It is not the time, but I think that we will do it because we talk a lot about something in collaboration, something doing in collaboration.
Fantastic. I cross my fingers for you too. Avasenna, I want to thank you very much for your art and for the conversation. I hope that we will talk more in the future or even meet in real life.
Yeah, thank you to all. Thank you to you, Agnieszka, and to you, Olivia, and to all the listeners.
And with this friendly mood, we are going to end this podcast. My guest was Avasenna, a painter from Italy, the color charmer. The one who talked to you was Agnieszka Kija's critic with the heart for art. Hear you later. Okay, mamy to. We did it!
Yeah!
We did it! We did it! We did it!
And one more thing. If you like what I'm doing and want to support the podcast Dawno Temu w Sztuce, then buy me coffee on ko-fi.com/Dawno Temu w Sztuce. Link in the description. All coffees I'm going to spend on new audio equipment to make your podcast listening experience even better. Thank you for all the coffees and stay tuned for the updates. Bye!